Hell yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. I believe we are live. I'm never sure. Maybe the audience can confirm, but we're late. No, we're early. Hello and welcome. Okay. So, welcome everyone to Rocket Lab Weekly episode 112. This is a therapy or opportunity session for the holders of Rocket Lab because we, at one point, were about 50% down from all-time highs. The market has been very ugly. So, how are you guys doing?
Good
Excited.
overall, yeah. It's a turbulent week in the market.
Okay, good.
Yeah, hanging in there.
Cool. If there's anybody in the comments that we need to talk off from, you're standing on the roof about to jump, just let us know, and then we can talk to you. But I mean, there's two ways to look at what's happening. One is like, okay, how much money did you lose, and the other one is like, what an opportunity to be able to shop things at these prices. And I was thinking we go through the news. And then we could maybe debate Rocket Lab valuation a little bit and then like see where we think the stock is going to go. Although none of us knows, it's still like a fun exercise.
Cool.
Sure.
Cool. Dave, when is your T minus time to baby?
Like 24 days, I think.
24 days.
Nice.
Okay. So
How are you feeling about it, Dave?
A little nervous, first time and all that. I'm sure everything will be fine, but it's just, I think change is always a little scary and certainly gonna change my life, I think. So yeah.
For the best.
Yeah. Did your baby fund just evaporate in this last few weeks?
No, I mean that's my investments. Like I don't have a separate baby fund, so but I'm doing fine, so I'm not too worried. Although
awesome.
I guess one thing I was kind of worried about, I don't know if we're okay to like chat about the stock a little bit here if you wanted to. I guess what was on my mind during this drop off is like did having a YouTube channel overly influence my investing decisions? Like I'm a guy that will generally trim on the way up, buy on the way down. And, I did trim on the way up, but I'm like, would I have sold more, up in the 60s if I didn't have a YouTube channel? And I think that's something I'm going to have to fight with because, anytime you say you sold some shares, like people come out and they're like, you're a Rocket Lab bear, like, never mind the amount of cash you have in it or that you've been covering it for years or whatever. It's just, so, but I really don't want to let that influence me.
A lot of those people have like disappeared, which I think is pretty funny. The people that are like, oh, I can't believe you would sell. It's just like, I don't see much on, chiming in as much as I used to.
Guys, have you seen Cyber Prince or whatever his name? It looks like he lost everything. Super sad.
I didn't see he lost everything. I did see that he was just he made a post saying he was gonna hold Tesla long 100%, and that was it, and no trading or anything.
Do you mean Tesla long like the I don't know if you call that an ETF, but like TSL?
No, I think just the stock, from what I understand.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, because there is like a Tesla long. It's like I think 3, or is it 1.5 or 3x leverage? I don't know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me with that guy.
Yeah. Somebody's asking who is Cyber Prince. Yeah, it's I don't know how to explain him. He was a very funny character.
Yeah, X account out there. He definitely had a ton of funds, and was kind of like an ultra bull, like Rocket Lab to 100 by year end, Rocket Lab to 200 by year end, or whatever. Never sell a share, and now all of a sudden he's out of all of it. I don't know. Yeah.
And he was very not shy about using leverage and options.
Yeah.
So I think that got to him. That's my observation, that in the long run, it's like the Matts and Daves and Scottos that stay. Like all the people who is like leverage this, options this, trade this, trade that. Like they somehow they crash and burn, and then they either become like you guys or they end up disappearing. Unfortunately, it's like the sad
Yeah.
Well,
story.
yeah. The problem is with this is with anything, right? This isn't just related specifically to Rocket Lab, but you really don't know what the truth is with anybody, right? Like I could have 0 shares for all you guys, right? And that unfortunately, like that is, you know, people can put up whatever they want and put up some sort of screen, and unfortunately, it leads to people interpreting things that may or may not be true. And so it just goes to caution. You know, some people, like I say that Rocket Lab's going to 0, Palantir is going to 0. Do I actually think that? No, but I say it, right? So people can immediately interpret something like that, and so yeah, just caution with anything, and not necessarily just Rocket Lab.
Yeah. And by the way, like in this intro flexion, like I'm not saying I would have sold all my shares. Maybe if I didn't have the YouTube channel, I was thinking, you know, maybe I would have sold like an extra 400 shares in the 60s or 70s. And, you know, it would have turned out well, but I just don't want to let that fear change my, you know, judgment on these things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really, you know, mature thing to state, Dave. Like always having some sort of reflection in times like these, and you might have made the same decision to hold, but you might not have. But I think it's always wise to at least think about those things, because at the end of the day, as portfolios get larger, like I can't tell you how many times my mentality about investing in managing a portfolio has changed over the past, say, 13 years since I started. And a lot of it's been during times like this where you're down. Like I'll just be bluntly admit, like I'm down over $1 million on a lot of these positions. And you know, to me, I really don't care. Like I'm okay with holding, because I think that the companies that I'm holding are generational, and I'm continuing to buy, you know. And so at the end of the day, it's all up to everybody's own risk tolerance and their own portfolio and how they're handling things. So, but I think it's very wise that you're at least thinking about it. I'd be surprised if you weren't. And I've had a lot of people that I've interacted with on YouTube and social media just in general. Some people aren't always on YouTube, they're more on X or other investing platforms, that have had that kind of thought about, oh, I would have done something differently. So I think it's wise for you to question that.
I agree, and also even admitting it on the channel, it just shows great self-awareness and transparency. So yeah, cool. So let's start off the news with the easy stuff. So we had 2 surprise launches. One was a haste, which because of the fantastic Rocket Lab community we saw coming, and the second launch was for a confidential customer, Follow My Speed. And I was a bit, when I was following Twitter, I was just like, oh, T-minus something to launch. I'm like, what? There's a new launch. And then I saw Sir Peter back tweeting mission success. Was this one even on your radar, Scotto?
Like indirectly, but like, yeah, it was, I think it was Thursday morning. I checked my email and I'm like, you know, 76 launches. And I'm like, oh no, somebody made a mistake. And then I open it up. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what is going on? But like, I'll say, yeah, like I mean, indirectly on the radar. Like, I mean, we have several on the radar, but yeah, I think they only announced it like the day or 2 before, and I just completely missed it. So it was yeah, nice little surprise, that's for sure.
Yeah. So this is launch 18 for the year, 76th total, and we are in the month of November. So reaching 20 seems very, very simple. Scotto, you think that we have a lineup to be maybe able to do 24, 25, and I mean, we just, I mean, last week when we were here on Rocket Lab Weekly, we didn't know that there was going to be 2 in a week. So it's very doable if the customers and Rockets are ready. So where do you guys think we're going to? Okay, I just want to add one more caveat. So our very own Mrs. Iglesias visited New Zealand this week. And she got a tour in Rocket Lab. She visited the Newark facility where Neutron is being built. And she commented on Matt's post when he was... Do you guys... Oh, sorry. Maybe you didn't see my tabs before. So she commented here that they are actually aiming for only 20 launches. And I was a bit like, oh, yeah, we're expecting a bit more than 20. So how do you guys feel about the launch part of the business?
We're going north of 20. I'm confident about that. Not saying I think that like we kind of mentioned it before the stream. I think Dave, you mentioned. I think it's probably just that like PR speak kind of a thing where they're not going to say like they're not going to give her information that's non-public. I think so. They just kind of play safe. We're just like 20 because they know they're going to hit 20 for sure.
I feel like when you're talking to the Rocket Lab employees, they're all very good about like kind of towing the company line or not saying anything they're not supposed to say, and they're very careful, which obviously they should be because publicly traded companies, you can get into trouble with stuff like that. But yeah.
Do you guys remember on Wallop's opening when we were speaking with I forgot his name, the head of investor relations, a young guy, and then Scotto was standing there and he's like, yeah, it's so hard to like track the rocket launches, and he's like, yeah, and we're gonna make it even harder in the future.
And they have too. I was looking through the Q3 stuff again because there was that whole point in time versus overtime, and that actually goes back for in Q2. So it's like tracking the actual average selling price for Neutron is like it basically done at this point. Like we can look at the backlog, but even some of that has already been accounted for. So it's going to get trickier and trickier. So it sucks, but I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's part of this is about making sure that you keep some sort of level of secrecy. One, because what ended up happening, think about it in the 2023 time frame, when in the third quarter earnings report they said we're going to launch over 20 rockets next year, and they only launched 16, and everyone was just like, Rocket Lab to zero, right? Like, I mean, pretty much, everyone was like kind of saying, I can't believe they didn't hit their mark of 24. And it's like, no. Having a manifest of 25 launches is very different than actually being able to launch 25. I mean, a lot of people, I think, had plans to launch many times here in 2025, Neutron included, but New Glenn I think they were expecting closer to 6 launches this year. A lot of these things, they're just like you can plan for a lot, but when push comes to shove, there's a lot of risk and uncertainty associated with actually getting some of this stuff done.
I think Tori Bruno over at ULA early in the year was saying something like 20 Vulcan launches, if I'm not mistaken, which obviously was
how
wild.
Many are they at?
Oh, I don't know, 2 maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Eric Berger did an article with David Limp, who is the CEO of Blue Origin, and he is saying that they're going to go for 12 launches next year, and they're even building way more rockets than that. And I'm like, okay, that is a very interesting. But I think they also said it this year that they want to do, or I think they said 8 this year, and they got to 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Peters seems pretty firm that like it's really tough to go beyond the 135 cadence for a new rocket. So I guess Blue has kind of some different philosophies on things, though.
Vince,
yeah, and I think
sorry,
go ahead. No, you go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to ask Vince if I could share the screen, because I'm looking over the launches and I'm like, I don't know how it's not north of 20, but yeah. I mean, we have. Okay, so I'll show this, and then I have like a little bit of speculation. It's not really speculation, but it kind of is. The time frame is the speculative part. So, I mean, what you're seeing on the screen, this brings us to 18. Then, if you look down, we have the DiskSat on December 8th. Synspective, I think, is still landing in December, so that's already 20. ESA 21, JAXA 22, Black Sky. I don't understand what's going on with that one. If there is going to be one more this year. There's some recent terminology that there was only 4 in this contract, but it was signed for 5, though there is only vendor financing between Black Sky and Rocket Lab for the 4. So I don't know if the 5th is canceled, but either way, it's like, I don't know how we're definitely going north of 20, but one other kind of talking point, I was going through the Q3 stuff, and there was the 17 launches that were mentioned, but what I didn't notice the first time around is that there was a mention that they were there are customers from, so you had 2 from the US, we had Japan, which is Synspective, so 10 at least there. I'm not sure if IQPS is in that mix as well, but they also mentioned Europe and they also mentioned Korea. Now, if we hop over to the New Zealand Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment website, which doesn't seem to be coming up at the moment. There we are. We can see that there is, on October 1st, the advice to authorize a payload permit variation for the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. Now, this is CAST for short. So we had a CAST launch in April, let me double check, April 24th of 2024. But 1 month before that, on March 15th, on the same website, there was like literal copy paste, the exact same phrasing here. So said differently, this has me wonder, well, actually, no, yeah, this has me wondering if maybe there is going to be an even remotely similar time frame, and how cool that would be to have CAST, ESA, JAXA, and the United States Space Force all landing within even a few months. I mean, if it was December, that'd be even crazier, but we could see even one more in addition to these possibilities on the screen now. So it's building momentum for sure. And Matt, you have that trailing 12-month chart. Are you able to bring that one up? Because that's a good indicator of the momentum that's building. Because they're not slowing down. And I think we're going to get a few more of these oh, by the way, we're launching tomorrow, so tune in kind of press releases.
One sec. Tech support needed here. Here we go.
Yeah, so on the screen here, you can kind of see the last trailing 12 months. So I think actually the 24th, so 2 days from now, is kind of the last launch that happened in the 2024 timeframe. That was, close to 365 days ago. And then the following was, if you guys remember, it was within 24 hours, they launched 2 rockets, right? One from New Zealand and one from the US. And so that's what that stack is here. So one was on the 24th, one was on the 25th. And then I believe it's mid-December or early December for that. So the cadence is looking healthy. We've kind of moved very expansively. If you kind of look towards the latter half of the year, kind of in the beginning of the November timeframe, we've done a lot. And 3 of these launches have been haste, actually. And so if you think about cadence in terms of specifically haste, yeah, I know you're starting from a low base, right? So it's very easy to do this, but 50% increase in haste, but all 3 hastes have been in the last 3 months. And so very helpful that you'll be able to quicken that turnaround, because think about how long it took Rocket Lab to get to a monthly cadence at all. And now you're looking at haste, which it's the same platform as Electron, just oriented slightly differently. But to be able to get that cadence into 3 within a month is very impressive within the first 2 years, and all of which have been different customers, right? So to me, if you think about that, that's also something that you need to think about is you now have 6 total launches for haste. I think 3 or 4 different customers that I have to go back and check, but it's at least 3 different customers. And so me, I think it's going to be a growing space. You'll be able to see that. And I think people that asked, and sorry if you want to chime in, I'm not sure if there's any other rabbit hole you wanted to go down, Scott, but a lot of people are starting to say, oh, well, 6 of these launches have been haste. And so don't worry, my boys. I will track both for everybody to see. And I think the biggest thing is that people are saying, oh, well, they're counting haste launches. It's well, technically it's still an Electron vehicle, but if you really want, I will track them separately for the total launches to make sure that we are still outpacing the Falcon 9 on the race.
It's all revenue.
Launches. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently one was a ride share, I think Francisco was saying. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
And there was also mention that same one was a 14 months between signing and takeoff, which is a lot shorter than I thought it would be. there was a comment made, I think, in one of our interviews where Peter said that the haste launches have a slightly longer time between signing and takeoff. But I guess we can put that aside for now, because I mean they must have tightened that window. So
I wonder
Nope.
if that's bureaucracy. Do you think that's bureaucracy? Because a lot of these are going to be government customers rather than private.
probably bureaucracy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he meant that it's fast for the government to do it in 14 months, no?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, is like
Yeah.
usually like I was under the impression it was like a 2.5 to 3 year kind of a thing, but it seems like it's much less than that. And I'm wondering, given that it's the whole rideshare thing, I'm wondering if this is the one that was supposed to go off in July originally, and there was just some hiccups with I don't know, like the separation system, if there is one, or whatever kind of analogy you'd use there, but. So that window might have been a lot smaller if there hadn't been those hangups.
So none of you have heard this before, that it was a rideshare mission? Because I didn't hear it.
No, it was in the press release after. It reads the mission deployed a government provided primary payload developed by the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory and multiple secondary payloads by federal and industry partners, which tested key technologies for missile defense applications.
That
So
is
That's
very
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is very interesting.
That's very Golden Dome shaped, if you ask me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, very interesting on the unit economics of how much a rideshare haste it costs. And I mean, I guess money-wise, because I think Sir Peter Beck said that before haste, the other alternative was like 30 million per launch, I think he said.
I just have it
more.
written down. I think it's 40 or 50 million.
It was
I think
between
that's
40 and 50. The Minotaur 4, I believe it was.
yeah.
Can you guys imagine that it's like 40 million for one, and then here it's like you pay maybe 15 and then you fly like 6-7 birds? Like what is the unit economics of that? That's crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, and on the Golden Dome note, I don't know if you guys saw this article by Reuters. It was quite a big article about the delays, setbacks, and loom over Trump's Golden Dome missile shield. And so did you guys see that? My screen. I'm sorry, guys. I need tech support over here.
Yeah,
This
I saw
is
this
the-
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring it up. I don't want to read the article like together, because I think it will take quite some time. So I just thought that we mention it, that basically what it's talking about is that there has been $25 billion appropriated by Congress for the Golden Dome. But those $25 billion is stuck because there isn't a clear way of how to ask for the contracts to be given out. So that's problem number one. And then it looks like the guys are going to even miss more deadlines. So maybe it's going to be only next year when there will be clarity on how you can even submit bids for this 25 billion. And then there was a part that it looks like the companies need to take, so they need to pay for development of this missile tracking. I don't know what's the right word to use it. So these satellites that will carry missiles that will protect against missiles, and it might cost between 200 to 2 billion. And some of the companies are not willing to risk this money because they're afraid that maybe a next administration is not going to carry on with the Golden Dome. So the point I'm trying to make is that this Golden Dome is not as straightforward as we thought. And I want to get your guys' comments on how significant you think it is and what you guys think it means for Rocket Lab.
Yeah, I mean, I read the article. Obviously, it was interesting, and I always try to get as much info as I can on Golden Dome. But I don't think I've ever really thought that Rocket Lab would go for the interceptors. And a lot of this seems to be talking about the the development and build out of the space-based interceptors. But yeah, it's not going to be like some kind of cost plus contract, and people are going to have to deliver like test hardware. So it's not like a home run to go for these, because it's true, you never know. Long programs, you're already, how far are we into this presidency? I don't know, but priorities can change, so it could be risky as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what was very, very interesting is when at the beginning of the year I was reading that, okay, there's 25 billion appropriated for Golden Dome. I was like, okay, we're not going to win 25 billion, but you know, some money should come our way from Golden Dome. And when I read this article, it's like, okay, even that is way longer down the line than we thought. And I saw an analysis on this article by Tran, who's a really good Rocket Lab follow, who said that most probably it will be like, as you said, like Rocket Lab will not be building the missile interceptors, but it's going to be like a subcontractor, or it's going to supply parts to different parts of the system, and that is being pushed out in time.
Yeah, I did find it interesting, one line in there where they said, I think we should find out more in several weeks. So I mean, several obviously is up in the air, but hopefully when that gets finalized, we can learn more about the architecture and how these contracts will be divvied up.
Yeah. Scott or Matt, any comments on this?
I think that people shouldn't be discouraged. I think what people need to look at is that this is going to be likely hundreds of billions of dollars over many years, many contractors. So even though it might be not necessarily particular to this, you know, there's lots of stuff to still come out, right? And the same thing with the SDA-3. A lot of that is also to come out as well. And I don't think people recognize, like, there's disparate contracts specifically for tracking layers and other layers and launch as well. And a lot of those launches for SDA-2 haven't been announced, and a lot of those will supposed to be launched up from 2027 to 2029. So keep in mind that that is another piece of the pie that Rocket Lab is fighting for, but obviously has yet to be awarded, because I don't think they've been awarded at all. And so lots of still potential to come. And think about how young the Space Force is for the United States, and a lot of these contracts, it's more in its infancy than I think people really believe.
Mm-hmm. And there was a mention too, I can't remember if it was in the article, if it was you, Vince, but the premise was like, you know, companies are a little bit concerned to, like, you know, put their, like, dip their toes in, because they're concerned like the administration might change. But it's kind of like the way that I view like Tesla's Optimus robots. It's like, yeah, you can push against them, or, you know, be all up in arms about like, well, we shouldn't be building humanoid robots, but China's going to build them anyways. And then we're going to look at that and be like, oh shoot, we should have acted while we should, but now we got to play catch up. And that's the same thing is going to happen with Golden Dome. It's like you could procrastinate and, you know, be all bureaucratic about it, but the moment that, you know, missiles start flying, you're going to be like, oh shoot, we got to play catch up now. So it's one of those things, like with the economics of space, the accessibility of space, it's like, either move now while it makes sense, or wish that you wish that you'd moved quicker previously, and now you gotta play catch up. So I think it's inevitable. Like, it's going to happen one way or another, and hopefully we're not stubborn on the way there, or we're going to be much further behind than we should be otherwise.
Do you think Rocket Lab would put in a bid to build those, or would be open to building interceptors, space-based interceptors?
I think parts of it, like the because like because Rocket Lab is strictly opposed to how do you call it, offensive weapons, right? And this is like, the whole thing is defensive. I
did read in the article they would be only kinetic, so I don't think they would have like any explosive potential if you aim them, say, at the ground, but it would just be like hitting missiles midair or something like that to intercept them and destroy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they just make the argument like, oh, we're not offensive because this is just stopping what's happening. It's kind of like kind of like the whole war structure. It's like, oh, we're just preventing something, but really it's like, it's the difference between offensive and defensive is often, you know, a little bit blurry. So
Yeah, and also what Matt said, you know, like those things need to be launched. Like these missiles need to be on satellites. The satellites need to have, you know, buses, sensors,
That's-
solar panels,
Yeah.
and reaction wheels. And I think that's where I definitely see Rocket Lab. Like somehow I don't feel like they're going to have the manufacture the kinetic missiles. Like I don't know. I don't
Right.
see that. But yeah.
I'm just thinking like if they were the prime, they would have to maybe subcontract that out or something like that. But you're right, that's a good point. You know, they could be playing a role as a subcontractor, even with Mineric and the optical terminals, and there's all sorts of things they could be providing for those. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's a very interesting topic to segue into, because this was my last Rocket Lab related news, and then I have space news. And as I said, I think we should speak about the stock and valuation and where we predict that the stock is going to go, because I think that there's a few fundamental things that have changed for Rocket Lab, which I think logically result in a much lower stock price. So, for example, when we read the upgrades, like the stock upgrades, when it was going like from $60 to $70, and you know, I was even asking like, what do these analysts like? How do they calculate the value of this company? And a lot of them was like 2029 price to sales. I don't know if you guys remember, even in one Rocket Lab Weekly, we took it up, right? And then if Neutron is delayed, that means that the 2029 sales is going to be much lower, right? Because we are like the ramping phase of Neutron is being dragged out a few years. That also means that the space infrastructure is being dragged out a few years more. And now, you know, we're reading that Golden Dome is delayed. So that's also like income that we know is coming, but it is being delayed. So if we look at the valuation of Rocket Lab, so we went from 73 or 4 down to 38. It's almost a full 50% drop, which sounds like a lot, but if you look at it, we are more than, I think I have the numbers here. Let me see if you can, yeah, you can see my screen. So we are still at a 38 price to sales on a trailing 12 months. With all these things being delayed, with the market going more pessimistic. So I'm curious, like, do you guys think that this readjustment in stock price was warranted? Do you think it's going to go lower, or we reach the bottom? And are you guys buying more because you have a YouTube channel, or anyways you would be buying more? And so yeah, I think it would be very good value for the audience to hear what each of us is thinking and doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at my valuation that when I updated it in the beginning of the year, I had 3 Neutron launches for the next year because that was kind of the schedule we were told. So that was 150 million in revenue that obviously would no longer be occurring next year. So that does change things, of course. But ironically, I think the Neutron delay was accepted very well, and I tend to think this drop has just been more broad market sell-off, especially occurring among the high growth names that ran up the most, and not even a ton of Rocket Lab specific stuff, which may have partly also been the case on the way up, because it wasn't like every green day there was tangible good news either. So it did seem kind of inevitable, like the rate we were climbing so fast, there would be some kind of crash. I'd be open to adding, maybe. I've been thinking about that SDA Tranche 3 that may still be coming, but it's tough when the market is just so red and things are like dropping off a cliff. I tend to like to see a little bit of at least horizontal action before I jump in again.
Matt, did you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I'm buying. I don't know. I'm always buying every time I get a paycheck. Buying. Nothing has ever changed, except for a brief moment when we hopped into the 70s. I paused, I think, one of my purchases. But other than that, I've continued to buy. I'm trying to think. I mean, the way I view this is Electron on its own and Haste is a very prominent, successful program where many others have failed. And you even have the Firefly Alpha rocket, which has been launched 6 times and has had more than 50% failures. I don't know. I'm just cautiously optimistic that to get a rocket company that can do what Rocket Lab can do and their space systems, which I think a lot of people, I don't think, understand the true legacy of companies that have been acquired. I continually think of Rocket Lab as the Thanos of space companies with the purchases that they've had and the acquisitions that they've had and the success that those legacy companies that they purchased have had. So that coupled with the small launch, successful business, I think alone is $15 to $20 billion, even before you get to a Neutron launch. So to me, I would be very surprised to see this go below 30. And I think I put somewhere, and I'll state it publicly here, and it, you could quote this and clip it, whatever. But if Rocket Lab goes below $25, I will probably mortgage my house and buy more stock. And it might not necessarily be exactly mortgaging the house, but whatever value I have in my home, which is okay amount. It's not hundreds of thousands of dollars or anything, but I will be finding money somewhere in the equivalency of that to add. And I've continued to add.
Can I ask you a question, Matt?
Yeah.
Do you think that, let's say it drops to $25 in 4 months, 6 months or something. Do you think if it had been a straight line from the 4s to that 25 without this big, up and crash, would you still be super mortgaging your house to buy shares at 25 at that point?
That is such a good question.
That is a really good question. Maybe not, but maybe not mortgage the house, but I would definitely, if we had stayed and had the success. And so to answer your question, no, probably not. But with where we are when we first hit 25 to where we are today, we've obviously accomplished a lot. Cadence has gotten better. Revenue year over year has continued to increase. And we're much closer to profitability. And we also have $1 billion on the balance sheet. And so, granted, if we didn't have that large spike up, would we be able to hit the ATM like we have and have that $1 billion on the balance sheet? Might be tougher. You might have less shares outstanding. But the way I look at it is I can't woulda, coulda, shoulda, and I kind of have to look forward from what we are today and the situation we are today. And we got $1 billion on the balance sheet. We're nowhere close to being bankrupt. We're actually close to cash flow break even. And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 12 months we show an EPS positive quarter. So I know maybe not the answer you wanted, but maybe you did get it. I don't know.
I'll play devil's advocate here. I'm not rushing to buy. And it's not that I'm trying to I by no means bearish on Rocket Lab. Obviously, it still makes up, I think, between 10 and 15% of the portfolio at any given time. But I'm just being a little bit cautious, I guess. And we'll put on a tinfoil hat. Here's your warning. But Thursday's big drop off was based on no news, but like the market was rallying after Nvidia's earnings, and it seemed like as soon as it was announced that the Epstein files are set to be dropped within 30 days, that's when this big drop set in. Maybe it was something completely unrelated. I don't know. But if they are actually released this time, which I'm doubtful, I'm sure we'll probably just get another binder with a bunch of, crossed out text. The implications for that are a little bit concerning. So I'm not exactly rushing out to use all my cash at one given time. So I'm not saying I'm not buying for the rest of the year, but it could be, like I said in the last episode, it could be a little bit choppy for one reason or another. And that announcement, if it even is one this time, which again, I'm skeptical, could present more turbulence. Tinfoil hats can come off now.
Yeah,
So
admit-
you think Sir Peter Beck is in the files? No, I'm kidding.
No. That's
Can you imagine anyone less likely to be in there?
I
Like,
know.
it's like I have my
yeah,
own
to be-
helicopter. Why do I need a private jet? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone I would be more shocked to see in those files. But
Mhm.
I have to admit, I hadn't really thought about any implications on that, for the stock market. Just kind of think of this as a news story out there.
Yeah, it's so interesting, Scott, because I also was like looking at this, that like the stock has fallen 50% and the market has, like, if you look at a correction, we're at what, 6%, 7% on the Nasdaq and the S&P. So it's not even like a big correction. And it feels like the veracity of the fall and how like there is great news and it feels like the market wants to go down, because it like doesn't matter what happens. It's like if we get, I mean, even on Rocket Lab, like I don't understand how we can have red after red after red after red. Like each day I'm thinking, okay, it's like a rubber band and we're going to be like plus 6% now, like the next day. And then like on Friday, like we were up, and then I check at the end of the day and it's like we closed on 2% from like 7% up after
That's
so
such
many...
a weird week.
Yeah. And
The whole week is so weird.
And I'm like, it feels like the market just somehow wants to go down. Like I don't know what it is. And for myself, as you know, I have this like effed up situation with the cover calls. And like my plan has been that, because I did 3x my money, and then when I cancel the cover calls or the shares get taken away, like there is a big tax implication to that for me. And then my plan was to put like 1/3 of the money back to Rocket Lab, and then 1/3 into other stocks. But with this fall, like I've been very much thinking to like if Rocket Lab would go below 30, I think I would take the tax hit and would just go full portfolio Rocket Lab. And it was such an interesting question what Dave said, if it's because it came like from 4 to 70 back down to 25 because it feels like a huge dip. And I was thinking about that myself, and I came to very similar, like Matt, that the company is so different. Like Space Systems is doing way better than I thought that they would ever be doing. The balance sheet is in a fantastic place that they did this at the money offering when the stock price was way up. There's zero risk for bankruptcy, and the fact that we personally spoke with Sir Peter Beck. I don't know if that influences you guys at all, but like the fact that we were at Wallops, we spoke to the whole team. Like I just sleep...
Wallops? Just kidding.
Sorry, yeah. Oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you, Matt. We were at Wallops. No, I just I thought about it that it's crazy to have 100% of your portfolio in something, but I would just feel so well that at that company's Rocket Lab and the way I know the company. And again, full transparency, I am like, after this is done, I am planning to send more money to the stock market, and that's how I will diversify the portfolio. It's not by selling down Rocket Lab and making it the last part of the portfolio, but by adding more money and buying different stocks with it. But yeah. So I am kind of praying for a dip that we go below 30. We see what happens.
I don't know. I just maybe I should just shut up, but I'll try to keep this one short. We just know so little about what future of space infrastructure looks like, whether it's for space exploration purposes, sending things back to Earth in terms of, you know, a whole bunch of applications that haven't even been discovered yet, solar, you know, data centers in space, data centers like, I just think that there's so many different avenues that people are exploring, and Rocket Lab is at the center of a lot of those. And I don't think that people fully understand how much of a legacy Solero is, and how much that has an implication on literally every future project almost that is going to be happening. I mean, yes, there are other people that make space solar panels, but Solero is one of the biggest ones. And it's like, if that's going to continue to be a piece, then, you know, I just continue to see the whole of all companies out there, maybe other than SpaceX, Rocket Lab is executing like second to none, in my opinion, other than SpaceX maybe. And if you think about it in that perspective, in a growing economy, to me, it's just, yes, maybe the stock price got ahead of itself. I get that. Was it worth $40 to $50 billion with what we have today? I think it's hard to justify that. You know, that's why I was selling covered calls, regardless of what people were saying about me. I made a decent chunk of money that I invested into other things, and, you know, took some of that and kind of got my cost basis back, if you will, to a large extent. I actually am curious to see how much I actually made compared to my cost basis on all the shares. But I just think that it's silly, especially if you're long-term minded. Now, if you're a trader, different story, right? Take your profits and run. But for me, I don't ever really plan on selling. I plan on either leveraging or buying against my shares to buy other things. And maybe I'm just playing a different game, which is fine. Not everyone has to play the same game.
Sounds incredibly unstressful to be Matt Money. Just hold long and continually add constantly, and that's it. It's a good philosophy.
Yeah, that's, as I said before, I want to be more like Matt, because, you know, before I was like leveraging and options and this, and it's just so much thinking, and somehow I have a much easier time with, you know, just trying to increase my income so I can buy more stocks. And I realized if I focus more on that and less on the trading, then I think it will be better for my returns.
It's a wise statement. I think a lot of people focus on, oh, I have $1,000 in the market. How can I increase that by 100%? It's like, well, you could have Warren Buffett-like returns over the next 20, 30 years. But if you're only starting at $1,000, you're not going to get very far. And so to me, it's a two-sided equation, right? Yeah, so you want your stocks to perform well, but you also need to be feeding it. Just like we expect the businesses that we are investing in to feed their portfolios and feed their businesses, we need to do the same with our own portfolios. And if you're not, then you're literally just pulling money out of your own business, which is yourself and your own investment portfolio. And do you want to do that? Yes, of course you have to eat, you have to somewhere to live, but you need to be investing in your business for it to grow, right? So.
All right. So for the audience, just to summarize, so Matt is always buying and has been. 70s was the one that was like, okay, that's a bit too much for even permabull Matt. But and as far as I understand, you don't think it's going lower, but if it is, you're going to leverage something that you own to go heavier. Scotto, you are not rushing to buy, which leads me to think that you think that there's more downside ahead. Is that a fair summary? You're muted. Scotto, you're muted.
Yeah, over the next month or two, I'd just say I'm probably not buying. Like, of course, if it hit like low 20s or something, I'd eat a hat. But if we're at the share price like in maybe Q1, Q2 of next year, that's a different story. But for the time being, yeah, just sitting it out for now.
And is that just because you have so much already? It's too large in your portfolio, or you're just afraid that buying in the short term would lose you money?
Yeah, just comfortable with what I have, really. Yeah, not even like, because I'm not selling what I have. Like that's mine. That's not going anywhere. So
I just like, I'm trying to think that, because there's people out there that are probably like, oh well, maybe he thinks it's going to go down more to a large extent. He's waiting to buy cheaper, and it's like, well, maybe that's not the case. Maybe you already have a sufficient size in your portfolio, which is fine.
exactly, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably maybe the more conservative guy on the panel. I think that's probably safe to say. And like I said, it's like any company in the portfolio is like less than 20% at any given time. So it's nothing to do with Rocket Lab at all. It's just my risk tolerance now.
All right, and back to the summary. So Dave, you are, I think if I summarize you, that you're like not buying yet, but you're close to thinking about buying more, which leads me to think you also maybe think it will go lower, or you're maybe also comfortable with what you have.
Yeah. Well, I definitely am comfortable with what I have, and like my Rocket Lab is a larger portion of my portfolio than even Scott. So, I have to think about those things as well. Yeah, I think I'd be closer to buying in again for a trade around the SDA tranche 3. In terms of adding more core shares, I think it would need to go a little lower yet, but that has to do again with my portfolio and the fact that it's already so heavy Rocket Lab.
Did you guys buy? I don't know the answer to this. That's why I'm asking. Did you guys buy like the 35 to 45 range on the way up, or no?
No.
No, no.
So it's just me. Okay. I'm the idiot. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it worked out well.
Always
It went
be
to
buying.
70.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the way I try to look at it less as like a short term. It's gonna. Not saying that you guys need to do this, right? This is me in my way of thinking. Is like, I want to be that person. Like I look at what happened when we went to LC3 and going to some of these shareholder meetings, and it's like I love that feeling, just being like around other like-minded people that are investing in the same company, etc. And so I've had this thought for several years now, where it's like I want to have substantial enough size where I'm a large enough shareholder that what I say is important, right? And to me, that's the way I view it. Is like I want to own as much of this company as I can, because I think it's going to be around for decades, if not longer, because of what it's working on, right? I don't think it's going to be something that is going away anytime soon. If anything, it's going to be something that's accelerating. So for me, I just want to have as much as I can.
Cool. All right. So now we have to round off the show a little space news from the space industry. Let me see if I'm sharing the right screen. So apparently Blue Origin is a cool company for the first time ever. And after last week's landing, they have announced a bunch of upgrades to their New Glenn. And it seems like New Glenn is going to be more capable than the SLS rocket, and it's going to be reusable because they're so currently they have 7 engines in the first stage, and they had 2 engines on the upper stage, and then they are planning a variant that is 9 engines on the first stage and 4 engines that is a much bigger second stage, and it's going to be able to carry, I don't remember the number now, but something insane like 40 tons to low Earth orbit and 20 tons to geostationary.
I think it was closer to 70 tons.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. As I said, it's a crazy number. Yeah. And also that they're planning to launch 12 times next year, and they're building a lot more rockets than that. So yeah, what do you guys think? So is this now, I saw some comments that this is why Rocket Lab is falling, because people thought Neutron is going to launch before Blue Origin, and now Blue Origin seems to be waking up and really like becoming on par with SpaceX. I personally don't buy this at all. And also that Blue Origin has always been really good on, the PRs and, we're working on this is the plans, and not so good on executing. And I don't think that changes just because they landed a booster on the second try. But yeah, so what do you guys think?
What's the price tag
On Blue Origin? On the it doesn't mention the price tag on this rocket.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that they're slightly different in terms of pricing, right? And as to me, I would always go with a rocket that's 40 to 50 million than one that's 60, 70, 80 million, right?
Yeah.
As long as it meets the ability, right? Of course, there's going to be some that need that 40 tonnage, but I don't think that there's a lot of people that do. In fact, a lot of the Falcon 9 rockets launch more than half empty, and they're at 20-ton capacity. So, I would find it hard to believe unless they need it done tomorrow, and New Glenn can kind of get that done in its a proven rocket versus a Neutron, which obviously saw their maiden voyage. I find it hard to believe that New Glenn is stealing contracts right now.
I think they've made good progress this year. Dave Limp seems to be doing a much better job as CEO. Excited for what New Glenn can bring to the table in this new variant. Pretty impressive. Having said all that, where Rocket Lab comes in makes me even happier that they went with the size they did, because it's, I think, just small enough that it's not even really playing in the same field. So there, yes, of course, will be missions much better suited to New Glenn, and there'll probably be missions much better suited to Neutron. And I don't see Neutron as really heavily competing with New Glenn, except for maybe some of those mega constellations, perhaps.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who needs 70 tons to low Earth orbit. Like, what can you possibly carry other than a space station?
SpaceX would say that's not enough.
Yeah.
I guess the answer is probably Kuiper and going to the moon and stuff like that, and industry in orbit.
Yeah, so I'm just looking. 60 to 70 is currently for commercial customers. Falcon Heavy is around 90 to 100. And then this upcoming variant, people are rumoring it's going to be 80 to 100 million. So if you think about it, if you need the tonnage, it'll make sense if you fully fill it out. The cost per ton will obviously be cheaper than utilizing a Neutron. But I feel like Neutron, one, is designing it for more so their own usage. But two, I think, meaning Rocket Lab's usage for launching constellations. But two, I think majority of people will fit. Now, that might be short-sighted. That might be thinking only 5 to 10 years out. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe you need something like 100 tons when everyone starts moving to Mars, because Elon figures out how to habitize it. But until then, I think 15 tons to orbit, or 15,000 kilograms to orbit will be fine.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is like the massive budgets it's taken to get New Glenn and Starship to this point. Like, there was never really a way, I think, that Rocket Lab can, spend that much to go that big, really. So they've taken a different approach, which I think was smart.
Yeah.
Scott, you put something in the private chat. Is that something you want to pull up, or?
It's kind of unrelated. If you guys are ready to move on.
I pulled it up.
Oh, perfect. So it's kind of an indirect update to the SDA contracts. So this gentleman at Ace Crouton on X, he said, for anyone curious about the delay of information on when we will hear about the government contracts, he emailed them himself. And they say, thank you for contacting the USA Spending Service Desk about data being updated. We expect agencies to complete and certify their October submissions by early December, as the reporting deadline was extended due to the recent lapse in funding. With funding now restored and submissions resuming, we anticipate that October data will begin populating on the site shortly after agencies certify. I don't think we need to read the rest for that, but it does give an indirect guideline for what we can expect going forward. So something to consider, some food for thought.
So based on this, when should we expect the next contract award, like the one that we're all waiting for Rocket Lab?
I don't know, because I thought it kind of sounds like the submissions are now set for December, but I thought and what was originally supposed to be October, but I thought the awards were in October. So I'm not sure. What do you guys think on this?
I don't think we have enough data to really say for sure when it will be awarded. So certify their October submissions. I guess what I could take from that is it seems like I wouldn't expect it before early December, probably.
I think so. So maybe we get SDA right around Christmas then.
Yeah. That would be like last Christmas or 2 Christmases ago when we got I think it was 2 Christmases ago when we got the first SDA contract.
Like, what is USA Spending Service? Do they just provide the funding for SDA and other agencies?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, all right. I guess it comes when it comes. We're going to see it on Twitter.
How many? So I've been pondering this. I was smoking a cigar yesterday, and I had like an hour and a half to myself, and I was just asking Grok way too many questions about every company that I invest in, and it really got me thinking. I know we've seen pictures of the Flatellite kind of disc, sort of like thing that kind of like pushes out all the different satellites. Do we honestly think that there's only going to be 20 Flattellites per Neutron launch, or do we think there's going to be more?
There was one mentioned. I don't remember the numbers, but it was one of those like kind of offhand comments, and I wasn't sure if they meant it literally, but I think they mentioned, I think it was 30, give or take. But if you look at that original image and you like just kind of take what you have and then assume like you could Photoshop the next little bit, I think 25 is the approximate count, but like somebody at Rocket Lab did mention 30, but I don't know if that was literal or not, so I'm not too sure.
I mean, my only thing is like, for example, because you could put Flattellites into like this new Glenn with the 70 tons, but when does it become like counterproductive to have so many? Because the different satellites you need to put in different orbital planes, right? So if you like put all your satellites into one orbital plane, it doesn't somehow make your constellation work. So again, we come back to this 13-ton. I think it must be. They must have also taken this into consideration that you can't like just unlimited, like because theoretically you could launch a whole constellation on one huge rocket, but then the satellites don't go into the intended places, right?
Yeah, I think you're asking the wrong guy on that. I've heard there's some methods of kind of, they do have some propulsion on board the satellites and stuff like that to move them around. But certainly SpaceX is planning to use Starship for Starlink. So. But then again, that will obviously be many launches.
All right. So just want to touch on the last 2 news that I have for the day. So one of them is SpaceX's new V3 booster got damaged during testing on early Friday. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know how
I did
much.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Is it a video?
I saw the video on Twitter. This is an article. We can see if we
Did it like explode,
here,
or was it
here.
just
here.
Yeah, I think that booster is going to be done.
You see? Did you see, Matt?
We're
No,
still
you're
seeing
not
the
sharing.
article
Just
link.
the article, the X.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, a lot
Awesome.
of people were pretty disappointed. I think this is probably the first V3. Was that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So another potential delay, I suppose.
Do you think it was one of those things where, and we've chatted about this in the past, like a lot of people are critical of SpaceX and they've had a lot of blow ups and failures. Do you think that this is part of the thing, one of the things that they were testing? You know, that it was like, hey, can we use less? Can we use, you know what I mean? Like, how they kind of try to test their envelope before they make things, or you think that this legitimately was just a absolute mechanical failure and design flaw?
I assume just like a pressure test, but
Yeah.
hopefully.
I don't think they were testing anything to failure here.
yeah, because I think that these tests, Matt, that you were speaking about, like that's V1 and V2. Like I think that now they should be like more and more becoming
Further along.
streamlined. Yeah. So I saw that some people commented that it might get the V2 curse, that they think they have gotten something, and then the V2 was like 3 explosions in a row to figure out, and then they're hoping that that would not be the case with this one. But yeah, it did happen. And then the last news that I have for today is a new space IPO. York Space Systems files for registration. Ticker symbol YYS. I know nothing about this company. I have obviously seen them being awarded certain contracts. Do you guys follow this at all? And are you guys buying this?
Little bit. I'm not. I mean, I'm not probably not going to buy. I've followed it a little bit. I don't tend to buy any IPO in the first year, as I've said before. Satellite manufacturer. They do have an SCA contract, if I recall correctly, and they're also owned by AE Industrial, who big owner of Firefly and Redwire as well. So interesting. AE's bringing another one public here. We haven't seen the valuation it's going to go public at yet, so it's really hard to make any decisions based on that. But it'll be interesting to see if they're still going to go for these really high valuations or make it a little bit more reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see how the market is, because it's probably, if they would IPO like tomorrow, it would be a very bad timing.
Yeah, I think they missed the window by a few months of the best IPO time.
Yeah.
I am seeing AE acquired a majority stake in 2022 at a valuation of over $1 billion, and they have revenue growth for the first 9 months of 2025 not revenue growth, just revenue of 281 million. So a little north of $1 billion on an annual basis. So, that's all I'm really seeing in terms of valuation.
I always like to have more space companies out there to compare and contrast and look at, and I think it's good for. And this one, not being a launch company, it should be nice you can almost have another comparison for Rocket Lab Space Systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess we will follow this as it moves more along, and there's more news to update on this. Cool. That's all I had for this week, and we went past the 1 hour mark. I don't know if you guys think that we should mention anything else, or we can close off the stream here.
I don't think I have anything else.
All right.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Thanks for the audience for being here, and hopefully next week is going to be better than the last, and I'll see you guys here next week on Rocket Lab Weekly 113.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.